r/AskReddit by Redmond Dts. What's rich people shit that poor people haven't heard of? Orchid daycare. You send your non-blooming orchid in to be taken care of until it blooms again and exchange it for a blooming one, so you always have blooming orchids in your house. One of my friends was friends with the son of some Malaysian oil company executive. They had air conditioning on the front lawn. Custom libraries. For the absurdly rich who want a classic library with leather-bound books that simply aren't available in leather binding, there are companies that will curate a collection based on your tastes, print out books on premium non-acidic paper, and bind them all to match or fit a particular theme. The service typically starts in the mid-six figures. A friend of mine is an electrician and was working on an insanely wealthy old woman's home in the mountains near Boulder, Colorado. Her bedroom is a special depressurization chamber that mimics the oxygen conditions of being at sea level. I know a billionaire who wanted swans swimming in the pond outside his home, but was disappointed when their feathers molted and they looked scruffy. He uses a swan rental service that rotates out the swans periodically so that they always look pristine. I worked landscaping for rich folks in the Denver, Colorado area, and I heard of a family that built a miniature town in a sunken location and flooded it with water so they could scuba dive through it. I was involved with coordinating a New York press tour for Bill Gates back in the day. Every moment of his time was scheduled down to the minute because his time was so valuable. In addition to his personal security, we hired some police and military and special services guys to coordinate Bill's travel route. I've never moved through Manhattan so fast. We went through back doors and walkways that avoided the general public in buildings and took us right to his interview locations. Every step was mapped out, and someone was always there waiting for us, just to open an unmarked door that would lead to yet another shortcut. Our unmarked black SUV was always waiting with the engine running, and we were quickly whisked from place to place. That's the day that I learned the most valuable thing to a billionaire isn't more money, it's time. I was briefly and casually acquainted with a guy who got dropped off at the place we were at in a helicopter. Apparently, he had to have his helicopter pick him up at some random airport farther away because the one runway at the nearby airport large enough to support his plane was closed due to a fuel spill. The closest I've come to that was the time I got stuck renting a freaking Nissan Juke because my flight got cancelled. Father-in-law works in construction with decades of experience under his belt, being contracted to work with basically a local billionaire, and has worked with him for a number of years. One year, while my father-in-law was out hunting, a massive flood shuts down highways in my area, and he can't make it home. It was awful, acres and acres of farmland was destroyed. Local lodges clear out room for travelers stuck. Father-in-law decides to give up his room and just use his camping gear in the bush. He was supposed to work for this rich guy the following day, but obviously he can't make it in, so he gives him a call telling him the situation. Story goes, the rich guy is straight up saying, "Where are you?" And within a few hours, a helicopter comes in to extract him out of the area. All the other travelers saw the helicopter come by and thought it was general rescue, so they started lining up with their suitcases. Little did they know that the one helicopter was there to only get my father-in-law out of nowhere basically. A dirty bushman, my father-in-law, comes out of the woods and he hops into the helicopter. That's some real screw-it money right there. Basically, screw the rest of you, this man has got some work to do. Forgetting that paper money has different values. I landscaped for a wealthy family, and he was a nice enough guy. Always tipped us on our weekly visit. He tipped us equally in his eyes, we all got 5 monies each. He would peel off 5 bills from a wad of cash in his pocket, and we all got the same. You might get $5, you might get $500, just luck of the draw. During the holidays we all got 10 monies each. We had a gentleman's agreement whenever we worked his property that the guy who got the biggest tip bought lunch. 10 monies took me out. It's like playing ice cream shop with my 2-year-old niece. It's more common knowledge now that if your yacht is big enough, you also need a support vessel. And if your family is wealthy enough, you have a family office who takes care of just about anything, because a single personal assistant doesn't cut it. To my knowledge, depending on where you live, if your house is big enough, it requires an air raid shelter. I know a man who makes very good money managing a yacht for a very wealthy man. The boat is docked in Jamaica most of the time. The owner uses it about 4 weeks a year, but it's staffed year round. The man I know lives on it with his wife. But they are free to do whatever they want 48 weeks a year. Kidnap and ransom insurance. I wanted a new area rug. I went to a high-end drugstore and was pleasantly surprised that the smallest rug they had was in my price range. I couldn't decide between 2 patterns. The sales rep said, "Why don't you just take them both home and see which one you like better?" My flabbers were gasted. I didn't even have to put down a deposit. Rich people get a level of service that poor people cannot even imagine. 12 years back, my wife's uncle was working for a United Arab Emirates sheikh to set up some telecom towers and traveled to Dubai. There were few guys with him who were given desert safari experience along with other colleagues. While coming back to their hotel in Dubai, they were dropped off in spanking new Porsche 911 turbos individually, 7 or 8 of them. The sheikh had come to visit them next day. While in the meeting, one of Uncle's colleague praised the 911 to the sheikh. Next moment the sheikh said, "Take it with you to your country, it's yours." The car was home delivered to his colleague in other country, with all duties and taxes etc. paid. Her uncle flabbergasted thought he should have praised it first. The Starkey School of Household Management, colloquially called Butler Boot Camp. It's really a training facility for both personal service, butling, housekeeping, assistantship, and the more business managerial aspects of running a wealthy person's life and estate. I used to live down the street and did a bit of a dive into their curriculum and alumni, and it's fascinating. Do butlers get a good salary? Yes, but it's important to remember a butler is not a servant. A butler is like the boss of all of the employees. Alfred is a butler. They will have dozens and dozens of employees. It's basically like being a director of a small medium-sized business. I went to a very expensive jewelry store, think $20,000 to $100,000 for a single necklace, just to look at sparkly things. Right away they let me try on this 50 grand bracelet. Even offered to give me a few to wear around the area, to see how I liked them on me, and in the sun. I got given espresso martinis. I even told them I could never afford anything here, and they said it was alright, and still treated me with great kindness. My sister cleans houses in Phoenix. One of her clients was diagnosed with cancer and asked her if she would look after her dog if she passed. About a year later she died, and her estate provided my sister with 36 grand a year to take care of the dog as long as the dog is alive. The dog now lives with her and her fiance. All she has to do is Zoom with an attorney every 3 months to show the dog is alive, and she gets 9 grand for the next 3 months. The house was resold, and she still cleans the house. My uncle was a principal for an international private school. Rich people hire educational agents to represent their kids. They send those agents across the world to private school fairs, and their job is to match the kid, who can be as young as 10, profile with the best school available that matches what the family wants. Each agents have a portfolio of kids, and they get a commission from the schools when they match a kid with them. Tom Brady cloned his dog before it died. Now he has a new dog with the same DNA. Rich people can get poor shamed by richer people. I knew a guy who didn't think in terms of legal and illegal, just in terms of how much something cost. We went to a restaurant and he parked in a no parking zone. I said, "We can't park here," and he said, "Yes we can. It just costs $750. A cop pulled me over for not having a front license plate. He said that there's one guy that he pulls over every month for the same thing because he'd rather pay the fine than spoil the look of his Maserati. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening.